the energy regulator AEMO today said increasing amounts of rooftop solar systems and the rising amount of electricity from wind and solar farms has started to drive down the price of wholesale electricity. But it says more is needed, plus the transmission lines to connect big renewable projects to the grid. Our business editor Ross Greenwood joins us now. Ross, this coincides, of course, with what we've been watching all morning, the Liddell Power Station coming offline today. And I might just bring up these pictures quickly because there's a few hugs, a bit of clapping going on, and that looks like the final shutdown there, which we've been waiting for. Ross, it's kind of like a rocket launch, but not. It's a bit of opposite. So let's see if we can quickly listen in.
Fantastic effort, guys. I know really emotional too, so want to thank you for not just your length of service here, but what everyone's done on this site over the last almost 52 years. Incredible. So just been walking around the site, talking to a number of people, a number of years, number of service is incredible. So thank you very much. I want you to reflect on this moment, take it in, and again, thank you very much. Barry, well done.
And that is it, the end of an era. Liddell, gone after 50 years. We didn't miss that moment, Ross.
Look, it really is a tipping point, and when you look at the other Eraring power station, it's set to come out, one of the largest in New South Wales in 2025, there really is a genuine change. And the question has always been, if you like, the gap between when renewable energy, when new sources of electricity are available, that, of course, Australians right now, businesses too, are suffering as a result of high electricity prices. But this report from AEMO today, its quarterly report, does show some encouraging signs. Just to show you, in the September quarter last year, the average wholesale price, $216 per megawatt hour. It fell to $93 in December, and in March is $83. Now, interestingly enough, I can even tell you that right now, the wholesale price, as I'm watching it, is negative $50 in South Australia, negative $40 in Victoria, and that's because of the amount of renewables in the grid right now. Daniel Westerman, who is the chief executive of AEMO, well, he put out a statement today as well. Here's a little of what he had to say, effectively saying really that growing renewable output across the national energy market meant that the 12% of the time wholesale prices were negative or zero. So just think about that. In other words, if you've got a wind farm or if you've got a solar farm, there's so much electricity out there meeting demand that the prices are negative. Now, this is, if you like, the whole reasoning for things like Snowy 2.0. When you've actually got negative electricity prices, you buy enough of that electricity, push the water back up the hill, and of course, when there's peak demand, when there's hot or cold conditions, whatever it might be, you let the water go down and you capitalise from that. So that's the nature of the way in which our electricity industry is going to go into the future. Yeah,
OK, so they're the facts. So we've had the political debate on this for the better part of 2 decades, Ross. So the jury's really in now. Renewables cheaper, but I guess it's the reliability question that we can't ignore as well.
Absolutely, 100%. And that's the reason why, say, for example, even when you go to Liddell, the fact that they're going to put in that very big battery, 50 megawatts, is really important to make certain that you've got what they call firming capacity. It's the reason why gas as a transitional material is so important, that we have enough gas in the system, which of course is the reason why you've got price caps and the reason why you've got big energy companies effectively being told, you stick that gas into our system to make certain there's sufficient to generate electricity, especially at the peak times when you really don't have the wind or the solar producing as much electricity as the community needs. So this is really, if you like, but then the second thing as well, Daniel Westerman today talking about the fact that we need the transmission lines to link up, if you like, the various, sort of renewable projects. And if we don't have those, it's going to be either more expensive for Australians, or indeed you're not going to be able to get the energy in the right places at the right time.
Yep, and that was one of the key differences at the election, and still the Liberal and National parties are saying this massive investment, billions of dollars, is too much. So I wonder where that political debate goes now. But look, a bit of a coincidence today. Andrew Forrest is now the largest operator of renewable energy in Australia.
He is.
And today he's opening one of the country's largest wind farms in New South Wales in the Central Tablelands.
He is. So just to go back a little bit in history, late last year, Andrew Forest's private company called Squadron Energy paid $4 billion for a company called CWP Renewables. Now, as a part of that business, they're actually rolling out about 20 megawatts of renewable projects right now, including a giant wind farm, which will be the biggest in New South Wales, one of the biggest in Australia. Now, just to give you some idea of the scale of this particular wind farm will potentially power 144,000 homes, and indeed Woolworths has taken electricity from this wind farm that will provide the electricity for 30% of its supermarkets. So a lot of big companies right now are signing up to these renewable businesses because A, it helps them to reduce their own emissions and their footprints, their carbon footprints, but also it's about the ability for them to be able to, if you like, back these projects and get them off the ground in a very reasonable space of time.
Okay, looking forward to that. The markets today were expected to be higher as Wall Street jumped overnight. It was the tech sector that prompted it. What's happened at the open?
It was Facebook. It was all about you, your Instagram and Facebook and all that money they're making out of it. But so what's happened is Meta overnight had a massive run. We'll show you some of the shares and show also our market as well. We can start with the ASX 200, I think, and here in Australia, it has had a decent jump off the back of last night. So let's have a little look at this. The Dow Jones last night up by 1.5%, 500 points it was up. But again, as I say, it was a tech sector. If we move forward now, we can actually see here in Australia now, there's the ASX 200 up by 24 points, a third of a point already, so a third of a percent already. It's in pretty good shape. But as we go and look at some of those stocks in America, as I said, Meta was one of those that did brilliantly last night in the United States. You can see its shares were up by some 13.9%. But in after hours trading, a couple of other companies reported. One of them was Amazon. Now, Amazon shares, they were up. In fact, they were up by 7% at one stage, started to drift off a little bit. But the one I really want to show you is Snap. This just goes to show when things don't go your way. Have a look at what the Snapchat shares did in after hours trading, down by 17.6%. So broadly, things were better with weaker economic growth out of the United States. But as I say, here it's translated into a modest increase in our stock market on the opening.
Okay, well, Snapchat, who knew? Thought that was gone, but I don't know anything. Maybe the kids are doing it. Who knows? Ross, great to see you.
No problems.